You thought it was dance music at first?
No, I don't mind it, but I meant what, not as in could you say it, but why?
Why are you so upset?
We've played this a million times.
Oh, okay.
Why are you upset about it?
I'm nervous because Ricky's coming in.
You know him. He knows you. He likes you. There's nothing to be nervous about.
Well, that's even worse. It's always easier for me when they hate me, because if they like me, I'm going to blow it. But if they don't like me,
so when
I
you
can do no wrong.
When you have somebody in here that's like Ozzy or Ricky Gervais who knows who you are, who likes you already, who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go hang out with Jim, it's more nerve-wracking to you because they might not want to be your friend anymore?
What tipped you off? When I changed continents when Ozzy walked in?
I just don't understand how it could be more nerve-wracking after they know you.
Do you realize I went to a 6-hour different time zone when Ozzy walked through the door? You're a creep. No, I'm not nervous.
Just so you could come back a week later and interview him again.
Yeah, just fucking I'm out of my mind.
You interviewed him like 6 times in the course of 2 weeks.
I did, and look at the album, #1 all over the fucking world. You're welcome, Sabbath.
Because of Jim Norton.
But no, I was saying we should have played a Ricky song, but he's not coming in yet, so that's fair. Because he's got the series, David Brent Teaches Guitar, which we'll talk to him about. Yeah,
it's this great YouTube series where he's brought back the character from The Office, the British Office, and is teaching people guitar as the character. It's brilliant how much he has mastered that character, and like nothing can just bring it back.
No, and I'm really happy that he did. And we think he's here now. He's one of my favorite people to talk to.
He's always fun.
I think he's a great interview. He's very conversational and casual and
I'll get
funny.
this out of the way before he comes in.
Sure.
You know about razors, right, Jim?
Of course.
You know your razor doesn't need a vibrating handle, a back scratcher, 10 blades.
No.
Jim, have you noticed the price you pay for new razor blades?
That's what I talk about.
It's how much?
That's all I talk about on
Is
dates.
that in pesos?
Oh, God, you're right.
And you're doing this. Just answers and questions don't correspond.
No.
And you're doing this every month for the rest of your life. Well, this is your Dollar Shave Club moment. And it's time for you to join all the Opie and Anthony listeners who've discovered DollarShaveClub.com. Listen, here's what all the buzz is about. It's like found money. All us guys want is a great shave without shelling out $20 month after month. Dollar Shave Club is genius. You'd be crazy not to do this. You send them a couple bucks a month, and they deliver amazing quality razor blades right to your door. You save a fortune, and you always have fresh blades on hand. No more nicking up your face with old blades because you can't afford or forgot to buy new ones. Join the rest of the Opie and Anthony listeners and get a great shave and keep your cash at DollarShaveClub.com. DollarShaveClub.com. DollarShaveClub.com.
That was good. I like the way they end that without redundancy.
Right.
Oh, Jesus.
Just hammer it. Hammer it home.
I don't know what to do with this extra Dannon. I had a Dannon yogurt, plain, fat-free, with some tasty blueberries. Now I have an extra.
Maybe offer to share it with Ricky if you'd like to share a yogurt.
You know what? That's a really choice idea, as they say in New Zealand.
Have an intern get 2 spoons.
Yeah, you want to share a yogurt?
And share a yogurt with Ricky.
A couple of men sharing a yogurt. There's nothing wrong with that.
Have you watched the last episode of The Office yet? I remember a long time ago you always said that you never watched the last episode of the British Office.
Oh, God, yeah.
You did eventually.
I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah.
I made myself wait because it was such a good show, and the show was so incredible that I didn't want it to be over. And I knew I had that one more thing to watch. But I eventually watched it, and it was fucking masterful. It's one of the great endings of any show ever. It tied everything up. It wasn't cheesy. It was believable and funny, and it gave them all, like, this is what would happen to these people. They always kind of stayed true to what happens to real people, which, you know, is why I'm so obsessed with that show. But he's also promoting, is he promoting anything, really? Derek.
Yeah, in September.
Will be on Netflix in September.
He has another show.
Yeah.
He did Extras, he did The Office. Now he's got Derek.
And he's got that show with Carl.
Yeah. Pilkington.
Pilkington. He does a lot of...
oh, and of course, Life's Too Short.
Too Short on HBO. It really irritates me because I have no projects whatsoever. And I would like to have a project with Ricky.
Maybe you could pitch it to him.
Maybe I could
Hey, Ricky, you ever think of...
I could be like your American friend. We go around.
Right.
That's all I have so far.
But it would be funny. It'd be comedy.
Yeah. We just travel and kind of get to know each other and the world at large.
Here he comes.
That's my idea.
I think it sounds pretty good.
That's a great idea. I think that he'll enjoy that. Hello, sir.
Ricky Gervais.
How's it going?
Good.
Hello.
How are you? We're on.
We're on. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about this. We're on.
Yes, we are.
And what's this show called?
It's technically the Opie and Anthony.
Right. So, why do we need them? If we can do without them at all, why are they ever here? Is my question.
You sound like me in every contract negotiation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's not the first time either.
No.
It's not
No.
the first time. They can just leave. Why? Why are they? I've got a bad back. I've got a chipped tooth. That doesn't wash in the army. How many hours do they do a week? 20.
20 total, but
Children do that in a day in sweatshops in third world,
that's right.
and they don't complain. You're the man.
Thank you.
What? I mean, you're treated like an idiot here, like a schmuck. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah, and it's I kind of never phrased it that way to myself, but now that I think of it, you're right.
Seriously, what have they got? What I don't even know which one is Opie and which one is Anthony. Just first of all, because I don't think I've ever really known.
Opie is the handsomer of the two, the blonde. You always go with the blonde, and Anthony is kind of the rugged, kind of workman Italian guy that sits on the left.
I know, yeah. So, okay, which one's hurt their back and which one's got a chipped tooth?
Opie has he's getting an MRI on his, I think it's actually technically his shoulder, which he's had major shoulder
I've got a
problems.
really bad shoulder.
You'd
I've
had-
had a shoulder for 3 weeks. And
Yeah.
where am I?
Here.
I'm sitting here.
You're doing radio.
I'm sitting here, as scheduled.
Doing your job.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I don't know, just out of interest, why have they got the job? What are they, how are they qualified? Why is it not the Jim Norton show? This has been my question for a few weeks now. I've known you for a while, and I think, and you've grown, you've sort of blossomed. I think of myself as a little bit of, I suppose, Pygmalion, it reminds me of, because you were fat, you were stupid, you were disgusting. Do you know what I mean? You were revolting. If I'd have touched you, I imagine it would have been sort of, I don't know, acidy or something, just slimy and sticky.
Yeah, an unpleasant consistency.
It's just like, sort of like, come from a crime scene. Do you know what I mean? Oh, did I touch it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you did.
Right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now, look at you. You're the man for me. You're funny.
Thank you.
You're smart.
Thank you.
You're reliable. You're here.
Less fat.
you.
Yeah, he's just, you've worked out, smart body, smart mind. And you are qualified to do this. You know, you're a comedian. You've got a qualification. You're out there every night, right?
Thank you.
Where are Opie and Anthony? This is the question we're asking. Is anyone listening to this show, by the way?
I would hope so.
I think we maintain an audience. Yeah, I don't
Really?
think the audience is relying on them being
the
here.
audience? I mean, are they're homeless? Are they in prison? Who listens? Who is listening at 10 o'clock in the morning?
I think it's
They can't have jobs.
no, not good jobs anyway.
No. But then again, Opie and Anthony, they're not at work, so I can't really blame anyone, really.
For being, Opie and Anthony have great jobs. They can leave. They can come and go as they please.
20 hours a week. How much do you think they get paid?
I've never found out because I know that it will just make me
Slit
put
your
a
wrists.
fucking open my veins.
They'd be embarrassed by it, surely.
Yeah.
They must know. They must know. Whatever it is, they must know they don't really deserve it.
Oh yeah,
Right.
They're not here.
yeah, it's in their
They're
eyes.
not here.
They know
It
it.
doesn't matter whether it's a million or... They're not earning it
Yeah.
today. This is the thing.
They're doing nothing for it. Whatever the amount
whatever it
is.
they're not here
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, will their wages get stopped for today? Or is it like, oh no, it's all right.
Yeah.
Do extra Thursday. Oh, I can't do Thursday. Oh, we'll do it whenever.
Yeah, we'll make it
Whenever.
up.
When? When is my question. When are they going to earn their money?
Well, one has the shoulder and Ant's got the tooth. You know, they're injured, I guess.
How does this make you feel, though? I mean...
Healthy. There's nothing wrong with me.
So you've held this show together?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said that. The glue.
Yeah. Well, there is
kind
no Gervais leadership quality around here that's
I
keeping
tell ya,
these guys
I
in their
would-
spots.
I'd kick ass.
You would?
There'd be a few people just laid off. I'd give them I'd just get rid of them. I'd be generous with the package.
Yeah.
I'd say, how much do you want? Just
Uh-huh.
get out of my sight because you disgust me.
It would be nice to see the two of them groveling. Please don't make me redundant.
yeah. So what? Tell me, you've worked with them, both of you, people more than me. I've only seen them now and again. Sometimes I see them when I turn up. And
We're on the
others-
way out as they're walking.
Yeah.
You're coming in, they're going home for the day.
Yeah, they pick up a kid, or there was a flood or something. I mean, we're not talking Noah here. We're talking a dripping tap, probably.
Yeah.
Just like this is not. Oh, I've had a road accident. I've not had all my teeth knocked out. I can't eat.
Yeah.
Right.
I've chipped a tooth.
Yeah, could wait.
I've got a chipped tooth. I didn't even go to the dentist.
You don't need to.
Do you have a
sound
bad
good.
shoulder and a chipped tooth right now?
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
You
Doesn't
sound
bother-
fantastic.
Yeah, cheers, man. So what's their best qualities? What have they got?
I would have to say that their best quality is they've picked a reliable third person who allows them to go gallivanting.
You're
Casting
man.
choices.
You're the man. What would it take? What would you if I were to put you in charge of this? I remember I heard a story once of Bryan Adams, right? He bought a house in London, and it was near a pub, and it was a really rowdy pub, and it annoyed him, right? So he bought the pub, and he closed it down. That's what I want to do to this place. At the moment.
You want to buy...
Yeah, just because they weren't here, just because I feel that I want to, because of syndication, I've got real fuck you money.
Yeah,
now,
sure,
right?
sure.
It's mental. And I do world tours. I don't even see the audience. There's light in my face, but I'm just thinking that's another $1 million. No. And I count it up. And I know one thing, I haven't got kids. I'm certainly not going to waste it on charity.
Yeah.
So I want to spend, and I want to spend every dollar before I die, so
Absolutely.
no one gets any of it.
Sure.
Okay, absolutely. Okay.
You earned it. You enjoy it.
So I want to do shit like this. I want to pull stunts like this. I'm going to buy Sirius, close it down, right, and then just see them wandering around the streets for a couple of hours, bewildered,
Right.
just fucking bewildered. So what happened there? Oh, Ricky Gervais just bought it and closed it down. Why? He'll lose money. Yeah.
He's got it.
What's he doing? He's watching you from that building over there, laughing,
Right.
masturbating.
That would be it.
That's what he's doing.
And they would wonder what happened to all our opportunities.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'd say
Yeah.
you didn't show up for them.
Yeah, yeah. And they start crying.
Plenty of time to take care of the back and the tooth then.
Yeah, exactly. All your
Yeah.
appointments will be filled now.
So, yeah, we could do. What else? What else would be
Well,
fun?
or you could just, if you didn't want to spend all the money on buying Sirius, you could just buy out their contract and then say, look, I got a podcast, I'd love you to do it, and you offer them a lot of money, and then you make them do the podcast, and then you just play it to an empty room.
Right.
No one gets to hear it.
I've always wanted to
humiliate
do
them.
that with Celebrity Big Brother. Just put them in there, and then put them there for like 8 weeks, and then come out and say we weren't filming.
We have a phone call.
Oh, really?
Anthony. Anthony's
It's not
on the
really-
phone.
Is it really?
Yeah? Anthony, welcome to the show, the Opie and Anthony show.
Hi, very nice to speak to you. Ricky Gervais.
Hi, boss.
To have you on the program today. I'm driving and I'm listening to this. And Ricky doesn't seem to understand. First of all, we've been there for our show.
Oh.
You book yourself to our show after our show's over.
Oh, really?
I would love to see you do that, like, hello, Jay Leno. Yeah, that's not making too much midnight. So maybe
So what are your hours then? So
I'll
this.
stay a little later. I'll come on your show then. But you'll be a fucking undedicated wanker if you're not there when I show up.
So what's your actual hours then of your show?
6 to 10.
So I always come on at the end of your show. So I always just think you've left. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I feel that I owe you an apology.
You keep booking yourself after our show's over. Oh, hello, Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, what time's your show over? I'll drop on by.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, so I should. What time should I? So I just get her at 9 next time then, should I?
9 would be perfect. For Joe, Ricky, 9 would be great.
And I didn't mean those things at all, boss. I mean, I'm hoping the tooth is fixed and you're healthy and right as Dodgers for this after, as we say.
Oh, Christ almighty, you guys you got me laughing my balls up. All right, have fun, Ricky. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
next time.
See you later.
Maybe I'll stay after school and
Yeah.
I'll get to see you.
See you about 9:45 next time. We'll have a good time. Cheers,
right,
bye.
bye.
See ya. All right. Cool.
I guess, yeah, we didn't really mention that.
No, the show's over at
Technically,
10.
the show's over.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's over at 10.
Oh,
Well, that's also
that's
Roland.
amazing.
I
So
go,
technically, whenever I think he was on the Opie and Anthony show, I wasn't. Whose show is this? What are we on then?
We go until the show is on until 10.
Everything still stands. This is still a fucking shambles.
Absolutely, it's
If you don't
really
even
Yeah.
know when a show ends.
It's an abomination. The whole thing really is. And let's be honest, if his tooth was healthy enough to make the phone call, it would have
So
been healthy enough
what-
to stay
he
here and
sounded
talk.
fine.
He sounded terrific.
So
to me.
people are listening now, are they?
Yeah, they just leave the
It's still
channel
there
on, yeah.
somewhere, right?
And we
wherever
replay
they
all
are,
day.
People just I don't know what they're doing somewhere with.
but Roland also doesn't say when he emails you or calls you, he doesn't say, well, no, you can't come in at 10. That's when the show's over. You just say, I'll come in at 10. He goes, okay, yeah, sounds good. And you just show up thinking.
So I'm doing this because people, what are you saying, were too scared to tell me that I've got the wrong time.
Roland,
like some sort of
specifically.
Ridiculous, weird little self-confessed deity on an island somewhere. Like some bloke in a robe who thinks he's related to God. So they go, well, whatever he said, yeah, it must be. No, I look at my watch and I go, no, it's 11. And everyone looks at theirs and it's not. And they go, yeah, it is 11. They all change their watch.
Picture
exactly
telling Roland reacts to you the way Dennis Hopper reacted to Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now. That's how Roland feels when he talks to you.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He wants to come in at 10. He's coming in at 10.
But what we do is the show will go late sometimes. Sometimes we go till 11 o'clock if we want to, or other times, like 4 days a week, Sam just does an hour here, and on Wednesdays I do an advice show, which is really catching a lot of buzz.
And advice, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I give very good advice.
What sort of things they say?
We thought it would just be a goof at first, like they would call up and, I would just give silly advice, but there's a lot of people with marital, sexual problems.
Oh, well, if there's one person I'd call, it's Hugh Norton. Though that would be, yeah. If Hannibal Lecter's not available, then Norton's my man.
We give the same advice, just bite her face and then stand on the cart. It's or drinking and drugs. Because I quit that, so they don't, they call about that, and it's really, it's just kind of fun. And the Sirius wanted to give me a raise, but they couldn't just give me a raise.
So what do they ask you about? What do they ask you about drink and drugs?
Well, I want to stop. What do I do? I'm having trouble. I'm struggling.
And what's your advice?
Fucking man up and continue.
I like that.
I'll say go through.
There's not enough of that. There is not enough of that in it. I was going to just pull yourself together.
Yeah.
Oh, stop fucking whinging.
Pick yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. And all these new diseases as well.
Yeah, obesity.
That's not a disease. It's not a disease. Well, let's stop. Let's nip that one in the bud. Obesity is not a disease. 98% of all obese people are because they ate too much and they didn't do enough exercise. Under 2% are through things like some thyroid problems, some cancer drugs. Okay, but 98% of fat people, and they all say it's. I've got no. 98% of fat people is because they ate too much. So that's done. That one's done. I want to lose weight. I'm obese. Eat less and do more exercise. Next.
You don't think people could be addicted to food like they are to drugs or whatever?
Who isn't addicted to food?
Right.
What animal is not addicted to food?
We are dependent on food, aren't we?
I keep breathing. I keep breathing in and then I breathe out. I breathe in, I take the oxygen in my alveoli, and I take what I need to get into my red blood cells, and then I ingest CO2. I'm addicted to it. Of course you are.
Right.
You have to be addicted to it. Doesn't count. That's the
It's
sex
the same
addiction.
to you.
All these people that go, oh, so I'm addicted to sex. That means you got caught and now you're going to go in the Priory for a week. That's all it means. You're not addicted to sex and food and air and water. It's ridiculous.
I think I'm addicted to sex.
Well, yeah, don't do that now, though.
It's not healthy.
What are you doing now?
It's not healthy.
Yeah, good job. This is radio.
That's how I show I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be good at it as an agony aunt. By
You, by the way, how much weight did you lose? Because you lost a good amount. You look great.
About, suddenly go serious.
Yeah.
A compliment. Yeah, good question.
Yes, Gervais News.
About 20 pounds.
Hey, you look good, man. But it's, anyone who's lost weight, it's harder to have empathy for people who talk about losing weight because we've had to go through it.
No, I didn't have empathy when I was fat. I knew why I was fat. I was fat because I ate too much. I didn't have exercise. And then you tell yourself, I'm not too fat, I'm not that fat, or I'll burn it off tomorrow, and you'd lie to yourself, but you knew all the time, when it's simple, it's just simple.
Yeah.
You get fat if you're taking more calories than you burn off, that's all, and you make the decision whether you care enough. I didn't care enough. I thought, that's alright, it's alright being fat, and then gradually you do care.
What finally happened? What was the final moment of clarity or whatever that you were like,
Probably about the 50th time in my life, after a binge of about 8 sausages, I was saying to Jane, I'm having a heart attack. She was going, you're not having a heart attack. I think I am, in a sweat. And so I thought, 48, this is getting silly now.
Right.
48, my uncle died at 51, my granddad died at 51. They smoked a little bit and drank, but they're a little bit overweight. But it's always possible, whatever you think, it's always there. It's always a little, you know, niggle in your back of your head. So that's what I thought. I thought, oh, I want to live longer. I want to live longer to eat more cheese and get drunk, you know. I haven't given up anything. I've done it with exercise.
Oh, you started exercising?
Yeah. So I still eat and drink too much, but then I think, right, that's...
Oh, you said that last time, that you exercise
right.
for the next day. Like, what I'm going to exercise,
Exactly.
get it out of the way, and then...
So I'm just sort of maintaining, yeah. What's that?
Skinny latte.
Skinny latte. Did you hear us talking about you, Roland? Did we rate you, mate?
Yeah. We gave you a good beating.
We rate you.
So then, are you more frustrated than when people say, I can't lose weight? Because you hear that from people. Oh, I just can't lose the weight. I don't know. I can't lose it.
Well, they're right. If you know, they can't.
Because
they would.
Right.
You know, or they don't care enough.
Right.
I mean, I just think it comes down to that. As I say, 98% of the time, this is indisputable. 98% of cases, you're taking more calories every day than you burn off every day. And what happens is, if you don't burn it off, it gets stored as fat in a subcuticle layer, and that's what getting fat is. It's pure biology. There's no, you know, there's ways to do it. Run, fat burn, cardio, weights, you know, diet counts for about 80% of it. It's easier to diet and lose weight than it is to eat like I do and work out. I have to work out like Rocky.
Yeah.
Because of the amount I want to eat and drink.
Right.
It
yeah,
really
I mean,
is
if you
hard,
diet...
you fucking lose the fat cells if you're still eating. It's really hard.
I eat like a fat man. I eat like a fat, greedy pig.
You just enjoy it too much.
And then I work out the next day, yeah.
How long is your workout?
I do an hour, but I do weight, so I've built a bit more muscle, which burns fat at rest. So the more muscle you've got, the more you can eat.
Do you have a trainer?
What?
You have a trainer or you do it?
Once a week, yeah.
Oh, you do, okay.
But it's like having a cleaner. I train hard all the way week, so I look good to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which works, you know.
Right.
And then you get slightly addicted to it, I suppose, you know. There is a physiological thing that runners get after a certain amount of time. Endorphins kick in, and it's like a little
runner's high, they call it.
You feel better, yeah, you feel better. Sometimes if I'm fed up and I'm stressed, and I don't feel like a run, I'll go for a run. I feel better.
See, I don't run. My cardio is shit. Like, I can do, like, I have two different trainers that I work with. It's hard to schedule. And
Jesus.
Yeah, I just...
Playing them off against each other.
Yeah, well, you know, she had me doing this, so you might want to have me doing that. You know,
yeah.
Whichever one gets to sleep with me first.
Right, you also got the two hottest trainers
I do.
that work at your facility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
women. They motivate me.
I have a bloke who's a skinhead.
I guess that's a motivation.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared of him. I'm a bit scared. He's a boxer.
Do you box?
Yeah, that's what I do, yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, and also I like it. So, you know, if I do things like a treadmill, I can do 10 minutes. I'm too bored.
Right.
It's just boring. So you've got to be doing something, yeah.
But do you spar? I used to hit the heavy bag until I hurt my my elbow. I didn't miss any work because of it, but I did.
So you were here. No,
yeah, of course,
I've
it's
done
still
that
here.
loads of times.
If you just prop it up and fucking keep talking.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
But did you do you hit the bag or do you actually spar with him?
I do a bit of spar on pads. I have sparred. I've even had a fight, which was awful.
And why was it awful?
It was awful because I was a fat bloke.
Oh, so you didn't...
Yeah, that was like the... yeah. I mean, I thought the only risk was that my heart exploded. I've always liked boxing. I love UFC at the moment.
I was just going to ask you that, because I'm going to LA July 3rd to tape something, and I'm trying to get Bob Kelly to go to Vegas with me because Weidman is fighting Anderson Silva, and it's one of my favorite things to do is go to UFC. It's fucking awesome.
I've never been to a live one.
It's amazing. It's
really.
Have you been to a live fight? Like watching?
Yeah, I've been to a load of boxing. Yeah,
watching them walk out, man. That fucking especially when it's a championship fight, like when it's silver.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can feel like the feeling of these two guys going in the ring.
It's great, isn't it? It's so real as well. It's so real. It's like, and I think Dana White has done an amazing job. He's brought that sport, you know, from what was like, it looked a bit seedy, like, you know, barroom cage fighting or something. Yeah. And he's made it like, well, I think it's one of the fastest growing sports. I like his attitude to it as well. You know, you're not good enough. Two people, I'm stopping your purse. You're not good enough.
He's brutally on. Well, you know, it's legal in all of Canada and all the United States except New York.
This is the last state?
This corrupt shithouse of a state is because of the Cuddle reunion in Vegas. They're fighting it here, and they have it can't get past the assembly floor for a vote. So literally, Dana tweeted a map of all of Canada was green and all of the United States was green except for New York State is red. It's the only place in the northern hemisphere where it's not legal.
I think because on the face of it, it looks more brutal and more violent than boxing. The gloves are smaller, you know, there's kicks, but then when you think of it, when anyone can't defend themselves, it's stopped.
Yes.
Immediately. There's more blood because the cuts happen because there's less padding.
Yeah.
But a boxer gets hit in the head 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And the brain is rattling against that. It's much, much more dangerous.
Yeah, I mean,
getting a cut above the eye and getting it stopped. Or, you know, breaking a toe. It's much more dangerous in a way.
Boxers are trained to learn how to take blows to the head.
Yeah.
Like, that's where all the brain damage and everything
Exactly,
comes from.
yeah.
These UFC guys, like, the minute you're choked out or you're tapped out, like, nobody's breaking a bone because right before their bone's breaking, they're tapped out to stop the fight.
You're tapping out, it stops the fight, exactly, yeah. Yeah. But it looks more brutal, I suppose. I mean,
and it's
kicks straight away look more brutal than punches, don't they?
Yeah.
And are in a way.
And it seems like looking at it from the outside, it seems like anything goes because you can just do anything, whereas boxing is super rigid. Of course not.
There's lots of rules, and but then again, you know, a kick to the head. It's over anyway then.
Sure.
Right.
You don't stand 1,000 kicks to their head. They go asleep as they're standing. So they get a little bump, a foot hitting you in the head at high speed.
There's just a pile of humanity that falls to the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
No, but I do like the attitude of it as well. That it's, you know, it's no nonsense.
Right.
And I think the show, as a reality show, which it essentially is, you know, when you see them living together and arguing, I think it's a great insight, and it's also real. I remember the first time I saw it, I turned on, didn't know what it was. And I think it might have been Chris Lieben, drunk.
Yeah.
Fighting everyone in the house. I thought, what is this? This is the reality show I want to see.
Kicking the doors off the hinges in the house and hopping over the walls.
I was hooked. That should have been the trailer.
Yeah. And they're all killers. They can all fight. That's the beautiful thing of it. If somebody throws down in the house, every one of them are in the same weight class, and every one of them can fight. Like, you can't even be a bully in the house.
No, exactly. And also, I love the fact that it's such mixed styles that, you know, you've got these people that have got one strike and it could be over, then they're up against a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu expert, or, you know, I think it's great. It's probably my favourite sport at the moment.
And mine too. And you can't always look and like, sometimes you look at the guy who's classically built like a gladiator. He's cut up, he's got an 8-pack, and then you see a guy who's in decent shape, who's a little thicker. But you can't just look at the in-shape guy and go, he's going to kill the other guy.
No.
Because
who's the mountain guy?
Roy Nelson.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now you'd think that he was an out-of-shape guy.
Right.
And he did exactly what everyone said he was going to do. He lumbered forward and he did this just ridiculously natural punch.
Yeah, that overhand right is deadly.
Incredible.
But he just lost, though, because he took a fight on short notice with a guy, I think, and he lost like last week, but he can't get knocked out. He has a head like a fucking water buffalo. He cannot be knocked out. So he lost on a third-round decision. He just didn't.
Really?
Yeah, I think his cardio was a little bit, because he seemed like he was because he just puts his hands up and then goes for the overhand right. I think he just lost wind after the
Maybe
first
he had
round.
a chipped tooth or a slight
or a sore shoulder.
Yeah, or I don't work Fridays. Yeah, maybe it was that. Yeah. It's after 10. I can't fight after 10.
Do you think they're more compelling when the guys hate each other, or do you just watch for the sport?
I don't care how they feel about each other.
I sort of believe it more with them than I ever do with boxing. I believed it with Tyson.
Right.
But I'm always cynical. When it's two guys, you know, we've got a few really good boxers in England, but we haven't got that many. We haven't got as many world champions as you. So when you see two people that aren't number 1 and 2 arguing, you think they're boosting ticket sales
right.
a little bit. Do you know? And I think they've got to get themselves in that place. You know, they can't. And it is a bit boring. If you know, even the best boxers in the world, some of them don't make a lot because they haven't got the receipts. You know, they might win, but you do want you know, extroverts or people.
Yeah, Lennox Lewis. I mean, what a great fighter, but
amazing.
Not a great promoter. So what do you think of your opponent? Oh, he's lovely.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Right.
I'm a pugilist specialist. You want to hear Tyson say, "I want his bone to go through the back of his neck,
right,
and pierce his brain." You know, you go, "Well, this is going to be a good fight."
Yeah.
If that guy is going to try and put that bloke's nose bone in his brain,
Right.
You know, that's
he's promised to murder him.
Yeah. Someone just got in trouble for saying. Now, what was it he said? It was a fight. Who was it?
Was it UFC or was it boxing?
No, it was boxing, and he said something like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna." it was a term that you use.
Murder him.
It was something like, I'm gonna absolutely go for it. I'm gonna kill him, you know. And he was in trouble, and I was thinking, well, one, he doesn't mean it literally, and even if he did, this is two people trying to knock each other out.
Right,
It's like, who's getting sensitive?
It's kind of the gig, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But it's funny how people the promotion game is everything really, because there's so much money now you've got to make, because everyone wants so much money from it.
Yeah, or you're not valued. I mean, there's nothing worse for the establishment than like when a guy like Larry Holmes is champion. I'm sure they made money with Larry Holmes, but he wasn't likable. People just didn't like Larry Holmes, especially after Ali,
Right.
and a monster like George Foreman. And then you see a guy like Holmes who's just kind of quiet, or Michael Spinks. These guys aren't great promoters.
Well, it's funny because both those Holmes and Lennox Lewis were voted 1 and 2 best jab of all time.
Yeah. Larry Holmes had a left jab that was like a fucking sledgehammer, and I guess Lennox did too.
Which, of course, is fantastic, but people want to see flying hooks and uppercuts and,
right.
finishes and...
Yeah.
Or at
Tyson
least the
coming from
promise of those. Like, is it like Chael Sonnen from the UFC? Like, he's a good fighter, but he talked his way into main event fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then it is the money comes from it being showbiz. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, the athletes don't make the same money as boxers, because it's how fast you can go. No one's booing at Usain Bolt because he didn't win in style. You went the fastest, but you weren't bowed mad than anyone. You weren't, there was no flurry at the end.
Right.
It's all they can do is win, and that's it. You know, I quite like the definitive nature of that sort of sport, though. Did he pass the line first? There's
right.
no ambiguity. There's no voting.
Right.
It's not like he got a 3.2. Oh,
yeah.
You know, it's like
you are the fastest man in the world.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's objective.
If we can find somebody to run faster than you, they'll be better than you.
And there's obviously bad refereeing decisions, and you know, so there's always a little bit of ambiguity with that. But again, that's why knockouts.
Never leave. And
knocked
Dana
out.
says that. Don't
Yeah.
leave it in the judge's hands. If it's close, you can't leave it in the judge's hands, because they do make the wrong move sometimes. You got to knock the guy out. I mean, that's the way to win the fight.
That's not to. You mustn't take that in court, though. That's only in UFC. Yeah. In court, this is the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, don't leave it in the judge's hands.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
never.
Yeah.
So you want to go to a fight? I mean, there's one in Vegas July 5th, and they have them like once a month, big events. But the Vegas one is a big event.
Yeah, I bet.
It's always fun.
It's De Silva, and who is it?
Anderson Silva, and he's fighting against Chris Weidman. And I think Weidman's undefeated, and they're saying he may beats Silva. So it should be a good fight.
I like this show. The first half of it was slagging off two people who weren't here and not meant to be here, and I didn't know that. No one told me. The next half of it was promoting UFC. Like, Dana White needs us.
Yes.
They're going, oh, thank God. Two people on the Opie and Anthony, they weren't there. Really gave us a great build-up. Yeah.
But it is, we talk about the language and like where they say like, he got in trouble for saying I'm going to kill this guy or whatever it was he said. I mean, now you do stand up, and what are you feeling about, because I know how I feel about the language policing that's going on in stand up, or the obsession over terms and all this stuff that people are giving comedians?
Well, I think it depends. I assume you're talking about offence.
Yeah, or what people find are offensive or inappropriate. And
well, offence isn't a case of right and wrong, is it? It's about feelings, and feelings are personal. I think you've got to, comedy comes from a good or a bad place. You've got to know, what side you're on. But I can't believe it. Now Roland's talking.
I know, Roland, he does that a lot.
It's rude. It's unbelievable.
Roland, he'll just come in and dare people to look at him.
Unbelievable.
While he does it.
So, I mean, you have to take everything. When people say to me, they ask comedians this all the time, is there anything you wouldn't joke about? Right? Firstly, the answer is no. There's nothing you shouldn't joke about. It depends what the joke is, okay? But people don't say that to writers. They don't say to a novelist, is there anything you wouldn't write about? Well, no. So we know it's about how it's treated. So they assume that comedians treat things without due care and attention. They're like not considered, like they have no morality. I see this all the time on Twitter. This people who think that they say things to me like, so are you never offended by anything? I say, of course I'm offended by things, but it's personal. But what I'm offended by isn't the same as you. You know, you can't. It's not objective.
And you don't want people penalized for offending you. You don't want them to get in trouble if they offend you.
No. Well, you have to be specific. You can't really talk in the nebulous because it's too difficult. So, but so in my show, I deal. The big thing is that very often, particularly with taboo subjects, which is what we're talking about, very often people mistake the target of the joke with the subject of a joke. And they're very rarely related, particularly in comedy, particularly if it's mildly satirical, and particularly if it's a good comedian who knows what they're doing. People's, they get stiff when you talk about, you know, race, disability, religion, okay? But wait, because everything I deal with is in those taboo subjects, and you talk about, like, now we're not trying to be funny, we're talking, and so we're using all those terms. No one's angsty, no one's going, but they're, because they know there's not a joke. We know that we're discussing it, and they know that, you know, you can talk about those subjects. But when it comes to a comedian, and obviously, very often comedians aren't being themselves, they're being a heightened version, or they're being a provocateur, or they're trying to take the audience to places it hasn't been before, and people get confused. And I think that it comes down to people getting it or not. And I want to sort of say to people, you not getting my joke isn't my problem, really.
What about
I shouldn't even be defending it. I shouldn't even be talking about comedy as a comedian.
If the
I should, you know, but I do because I like to do it as an interest.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about this as an expert or as a professional. I'm talking about this as just a person, because I like discussing these issues, and you know.
And we all know the difference between, this is what bothers me about people's fake outrage. I don't believe the outrage, because we all know the difference in intent when someone's intending to make you laugh, and the difference between that and when someone's making a serious statement.
Yeah.
There's a different intent and a different effect you want it to have on the audience.
Absolutely
and they know
correct.
that. And they pretend they don't know it.
Well, I think comedy is as an intellectual pursuit. And I think as soon as it gets emotional on purpose, i.e. with intention from the comedian, it stops being funny and it stops being comedy. It starts being rallying. I mean, I've heard some so-called comedians come out and they say things like, what are we going to do about all these immigrants? And it gets a round of applause from the audience. I think, well, that's not a joke.
Right, there's no punchline.
That's political. That's just you putting your agenda across with like-minded people. You know, so I'd say that, and then very often they say, what do you think of that so-and-so joke? I want to say, well, it wasn't a joke. Mm-hmm. You know, like Michael Richards going crazy, you know, he was stressed, someone upset him, he wanted to hurt that person's feelings, right? That wasn't comedy. I think he stepped outside of comedy. I'm not disclaiming it because I'm a comedian. I want to say, I think he did something other than comedy.
He was reacting angrily as opposed to being funny. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he wasn't being a comedian. He was being a bloke who was he stepped out of character almost. And we're always in character a bit when we're being a comedian, and we want the audience to make that leap with us.
What about the idea, and somebody hit you with this on the phone earlier this week, like the responsibility that you have because you're talking to an audience. So, like, let's say the audience doesn't get your nuance or doesn't understand what you're saying and takes the context of your joke and...
But I don't think you should legislate against stupidity.
Uh-huh.
Because there's only so many nods and winks to cameras before you're not doing anything special at all. If everyone gets what you say, there's not much to get. Why do we want everyone to understand it? Why do we want to talk to a room full of adults who have paid $100 the same as we talk to a 5-year-old? You know, you talk to a 5-year-old because they have to get what you're saying. It's important that they understand what you're saying without ambiguity. With no frills, with no agenda, with no double meaning or level. Don't put your hand in the fire. Why not? Don't put your hand. Do you understand me? Don't put your hand in the fire.
Yeah.
That's not my job as a comedian to tell them not to put their hand in the fire.
Not to fucking spoon feed them. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I've entered a contract here, and the contract is I'll say what the fuck I like, and if you don't like it, don't come again.
Or just get up and quietly go. Like, the people with the whole Tosh incident about the rape joke, and it was like, that woman was wrong because she heckled. Like, I thought that she had every right to get up and leave. Because if you're not enjoying something, you should just leave.
But not to take control of the
It's
show.
not your business to do that because you wouldn't do it in a movie theater. If she, let me tell you, if she was in a movie theater and she was in, say, or watching, she wouldn't dare stand up and throw paint on the screen if she saw something she objected to. Or she wouldn't put her hand in front of the projector so nobody else could see it. She would just leave. But because you're in the room with her, people feel entitled to make you know their opinion.
Well, that's the difference, again, between freedom of speech and censorship. Censorship isn't turning off your own telly. That's up to you. Censorship is making everyone else turn off their telly because you don't like what's on the telly. And that's a big difference. And I think people sometimes get confused with what freedom of speech is, you know. Basically, I think offence is the collateral damage of freedom of speech. Some people don't get offended by anything you say. Somewhere will get, you know, they might get it, they might not care for it, it might not be their cup of tea. And that's fine, you know, but they have the choice. You know, as a comedian, I don't go around knocking on doors and sitting on people's sofas and shouting my shit at them. They've come into my world. They've come into my church. Do you know?
Yeah.
They're going to hear my sermon.
That was a great way, sorry to interrupt you, Sam, but that was
No.
a great way to phrase it. Offense is the collateral damage of free speech. That's a really good way to say it.
And people don't understand free speech either.
No,
they
they
think
don't.
that means you can do anything. I say about freedom of speech is one of the most important things that we have in a civilized society, freedom of speech, right? And I have to explain to them, and I say, why do you block people? I said, well, that's up to me. Your freedom of speech isn't your freedom to be heard.
Right.
Or even if you're heard, listened to, or even if you're heard and listened to, taken seriously. So that the freedom of speech ends with you saying what you want.
And
right?
I mean, it's the same principle as you saying that they came to your church. Like, if you're tweeting something out, you don't intend for the world to see it.
No,
you
they're
intend for
following
those
me.
who
Exactly.
follow you to see
Exactly,
it.
yeah. You've come to my door and you've
Right.
complained about what I'm saying on my sofa.
Yeah, so just
It's my sofa.
Just
Yeah.
leave quietly. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Just go home.
Just block me, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
And by blocking, by the way-
and this is what an idiot says as well about freedom of speech. And they say, oh, what? So Hitler was right? No, because he wasn't saying things, was he? He was killing people.
Right.
That's not saying, that's doing.
Yeah, and his intent, his intent was not to make you laugh. It was to rally people to genocide.
Right.
Big
Yeah.
difference
Of course.
between that
Yeah.
and what
Genocide is
comic
not covered
No,
within the
well, that's
boundaries
doing.
of freedom of
That's
speech.
doing. What
Right.
you do- yeah, and you know, if Hitler just went around saying shit, fine.
Yeah.
It's allowed. If he just went around, if the worst thing Hitler did was say awful things,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, he's a bit of an idiot. I don't want to be his friend,
Right.
Yeah.
But
He's
you know,
allowed to say
as long
it.
as he doesn't put any of that into action, you're okay. Hitler.
Yeah.
You're okay with your funny little moustache. Don't do anything, though, will you? No, okay,
Once-
'cause it's illegal.
His first murder. His first murder.
Oh, you let me step them out there, mate. Yeah. There's the line. Oh. You
did it.
Yeah, but we're talking, you know. There's another phrase that annoys me on Twitter as well. Militant atheist. Militant atheist?
Uh-huh.
Well, you mean I said stuff? That's what a militant atheist is. Yeah. I'm going to go onto a crowded tube station, unbutton my shirt, and talk about science and shit. It's
Horrible army.
yeah, there's so many things I want people to know. What militant means, what freedom of speech is,
Yeah.
the burden of proof. The people who tweet me things like, you can't prove God doesn't exist. No, I can't.
Yeah, it's a great
No, I
argument.
say things like, you can't prove Santa doesn't exist. They go, don't be so ridiculous, of course. He doesn't.
Well, that's insanity.
It's ridiculous.
Of course he
This
does.
man with a white beard doing shit in that time. Don't be took bollocks.
You're great on Twitter, man. I love the fact that as famous as you are and as big as your career is, it's like you don't worry about saying the wrong thing, and you don't. I love that you.
As long as you're honest,
yeah.
you can't be held accountable, really. In that Tosh, what's his name? The
Daniel Tosh.
Yeah, I didn't know about the joke or anything. It was raging, and people were asking me, "What do you think about Daniel?" I said, "What's happened?" Said, "Rape joke. It should be rape joke. You should never joke." I said, "Well, it depends what the joke is."
Yeah.
Like, no, of course it doesn't. You should never rape. And then someone sent me a tweet, and she said, "I will laugh at a rape joke the day I know that no one in that audience has been raped." And I just tweeted back, "What a strange door policy." Two, please. Certainly, that's. Can I just ask you a question? Have you been raped? raped? I have, yeah. You can't come in.
Sorry.
No.
It's a policy. It's
No,
not
because
me.
there's a woman at the front, and she's only going to laugh if she knows that no one in the audience has been raped.
That was a great one. Yeah, I remember that very specifically. But what an ass she is to say that, because that means you won't laugh at a drunk driving joke, or you won't laugh at a pedophile joke,
right,
or you won't laugh at any type of domestic violence reference.
What is a rape joke? You know, I wouldn't. You know, I don't find rape funny.
It's not. It's terrible.
It's terrible. It's one of the worst, heinous things. But there's so many levels to get.
I mean, technically, the door policy joke is a rape joke.
Well, if that's exactly.
I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they mean the subject of rape,
sure,
as opposed to. You know, again, if you're laughing at someone who's been raped, that's not a joke.
Yeah.
That's just you're a horrible, nasty. But I don't find it funny. There are some people that would find it funny, but they're serial killers and rapists.
Right.
Okay. And the thing is, with again, stupid people treat jokes about bad things with the same fear and loathing as intelligent people treat the actual bad thing, and they're not related. You know, a joke about that's what humour's for. To get us over bad things. That's exactly what, evolutionarily speaking, a humour is. So it gets us over bad shit. If you can't joke about bad shit, there's no point joking about good shit.
Yeah, because it's already happening.
We don't
already
need
feels
it.
good.
It's already good. Yeah.
Everyone likes a balloon. Who gives a shit?
It's like laughter is this drug that cures bad shit. Is a drug here. It cures good shit. I don't want that. I like good shit. Yeah. I want something that cures bad shit. Well, laughter's the best medicine. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those people, a lot of them are dumb, but a lot of them aren't dumb. A lot of them aren't dumb. A lot of them are, like, dumb is almost letting some of them off. Some of them are dumb, but some of them are so self-centered in their opinion.
Yeah.
And there's a real self-centeredness that comes with it, and a self-importance about what I feel is appropriate, and what you feel is appropriate is not. And I'm the arbiter of that.
Well, they don't like a comedian having this superpower of freedom of speech and exercising it so well.
Right.
They can't stand it.
I mean, these are the people that go to comedy shows with the intent to catch you doing something wrong and catch you saying something you weren't supposed to, so then they can blog about it, or they can, you know, tell the world that you shouldn't be doing what you do.
Yesterday, someone tweeted me, there is a cure for cancer. It is called praying. And I sent back, your application for chief of oncology at this hospital has not been successful, right?
Sure.
Okay. So that's a clear joke about how stupid it would be if we took praying as a cure for cancer seriously, as opposed to all that stuff that cures cancer that we've researched, right? Someone gets involved saying, oh, so you're laughing at the fact there's no cure for cancer? No. I'm laughing at you because you're a stupid fucking idiot.
Right.
So you don't get what I was saying. Basically, he's angry on false pretenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had it happen to me. Someone in the paper has said, look at this terrible joke, and they've done the joke, and it's wrong. They've got the joke wrong. It's so important.
Yeah.
Every aspect of a joke is important. The syntax, the semantics, the rhyming, sometimes even some of the visual aid that comes with it. Taken out of context, it's the better the joke, the more fragile it is.
Well, sarcasm doesn't read in print. You know,
No, that's
I'm happy he died reads terribly like, oh yeah, I'm happy he died. There's a tremendous, that was me acting. There's a tremendous difference, and people know that, and we have that common bond of language. But people, what I hate about people is they pretend they don't know it, because the bigger goal is to get you to not say what they don't like.
Exactly.
And that's all it is.
Yeah,
Right.
and some people, you know, there's in a Venn diagram, there'd be lots and lots of overlaps, but some people are genuinely angry and they don't know why everyone doesn't find the same things wrong as they do.
Yeah.
Then they just want a retweet. Then they just don't like you. Then they just want to say something because no one listens to them.
Yeah.
Ever. That's often
An excuse to be heard. Absolutely.
An excuse to be heard. They're frustrated that they're not heard like we are, that they haven't got that platform, so they want to bring us down a peg or two.
And if they say, if you say you're sorry, and if you've wounded somebody, when people are wounded, well, what's wrong? Talk. We'll listen to you now.
Yeah.
People want to pretend that they're wounded by somebody's words.
Yeah, I had many complaints. You know, I used to work in a public sector. I worked at a university, and I had a complaint. And sometimes they just couldn't believe you called them back. They go, "Oh, thanks, don't worry about it." They wanted to talk to someone.
Yeah.
They wanted to be heard, and you know that's all. That they were happy. They were happy. I think that is the case sometimes. But I did a show Madison Square Garden, okay? So, a lot of people, I did jokes about, race, the Holocaust, and Frank jokes.
Oh, no.
Paedophile jokes, everything. I got a letter from a society saying, "Oh, we loved your show. We found it. We were very disappointed at the joke about Anne Frank." Right? And I said, "But you understood the satire behind the famine joke, the paedophile joke, the racist joke. You understood that because it wasn't your thing.
Right.
But you can't get over your thing. You think, well, why is, you know, I'm the same with some things. I don't like certain jokes about certain things because I can't get over them emotionally. You know, I don't, but I've got to keep that quiet. I've just got to, you know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, you know.
And you can understand on that intellectual level that if their intent here, and here was not malicious, here it probably wasn't malicious either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just because you don't like that being brought up doesn't mean that this guy was trying to hurt your feelings.
No, exactly, and that's what it feels like. That's what offence feels like. Offence feels that, why is he having a go at me? And you've got to step back from that and go, well, he's not having a go at me.
He doesn't even know you.
Yeah, unless I name you.
Right.
You know, I think that's one thing I don't do too often. I don't say, you know, again, it depends what the target of the joke is, and sometimes even if you name someone, they're not actually the target of the joke, they're instrumental in getting to the target of the joke. So, I can understand why someone would feel bullied if, oh God, he just got on stage and talked about, I mean, I can imagine why Opie and Anthony feel.
Yes.
For the first half of this show. There's no ambiguity there.
Yeah.
Spent 20 minutes just
Exactly, yeah.
trashing them. Them specifically.
They've got a point. They've got a point there. But if
What
I
was
was
more offensive, you bashing them or their coworkers applauding behind you?
exactly,
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're dead.
yeah, exactly. So I think you have to take the personal out of it. I think, you know, and I think the better the joke is, the more universal it is.
Or if they admitted what they're really doing. Like, I would respect people if they said, you said something I don't like, and I really don't want you to be able to say it. But there's a self-centeredness in that honesty that they won't do. So what they have to do is create, even to themselves, a reason that seems legit. Well, here's why you shouldn't make fun of race. But here's why you shouldn't make fun of drunk. Everyone has a reason. No one ever just comes out and says the truth, which is, I don't like it and I don't want you to say it. There's an ugliness in that.
Well, I think there are reasons you shouldn't make fun of race, because no one can help their race. But you can make fun about race. You can make jokes about race.
Right.
But you shouldn't make, I don't think you should, this is what I'm saying about the target and the subject are different. You know, the reason why you shouldn't have a go at anyone for anything they can't help. And the reason why real racist jokes aren't funny to me, and not because I'm offended by them, because they're not true. As soon as someone says, why do Mexicans da-da-da-da, that fact is usually spurious. It's not a true fact. Says there's an injustice to it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
What?
I don't know if I agree, but I do know what
Well,
you
if
mean.
someone said, why are Swedish people all paedophiles? My first thought is, they're not.
Oh.
I can't laugh whatever the punchline is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Jim wanted to move when he
I
heard
was just saying, yeah, I'm gonna fucking go for dual citizenship.
So, I think again, the joke fails. If every part of it is totally untrue, it's rallying, and that to me would be people that you'd need them to all agree with that. Hey, all the Swedes are paedophiles, for it to be funny or get a round of applause. And so it fails purely on a comedic level to me,
Okay.
not on a political one.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. And you're also not saying that people should get it. The important thing for me is if there's certain jokes I don't like too.
Yeah.
But if I've never called for anyone to be penalized for them. And so I never have a problem with people saying they don't like certain type of jokes.
No.
Or they don't think, like I had a debate with a feminist, and who I actually wound up liking on an FX show. We talked about rape
Say
jokes.
that like it was a surprise. I went in there with all the prejudices you would have, and yeah.
Well, I was surprised though, because her opinion and mine are vastly different, and we didn't change each other's opinions. We had a respectful discussion.
I think I saw it. I think it was, yeah.
It was on, it was online.
Yeah, no, it was great.
On Kamau Bell.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing was, she wasn't calling for people to be censored. She had a very tricky argument. We just didn't see eye to eye. And the frustrating, everyone comes to a crossroad in a debate where we realize we're not going to change each other's minds. So do we say, okay, but that's when people get angry when we don't get our way and
No,
change their
as
mind.
I remember, and I don't want to misquote her, but as I remember, her worry was that I think she had a term called
Rape culture?
Rape culture, yeah, where the assumption was if it's all out in the open and it's okay to joke about, it desensitizes people and can cause an environment where rape wasn't so heinous and terrible, and
Right.
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
I don't think anyone has ever gone, I saw a funny rape routine. I'm going to try it tonight.
Right.
I don't think that's ever happened.
I don't either.
I don't think so. And I think that's a big misconception because we can joke about terrible things that we're somehow condoning it is totally untrue. And I couldn't find the actual bad things that I joke about more offensive and more disgusting and want them to end more than anyone I ever know. But that doesn't stop me joking about them.
That's the to me, that's almost what the beauty of being a comic is. It was like, I did jokes about the beheading in Britain, and the point was...
Okay, that's too much.
The point of the joke was, it had something to do with the way radical Islam treats women, which was negative. And but people, they, like you said, they grow...
Well, of course,
because
I need to hear the joke. Yeah, you need to hear exactly. It depends, and as you said, you said joked about it, and that's the important thing. At no point do I imagine you ever condoned that act of violence.
No, and people know, and people read sarcasm, and people, you know, it's like a lot of times, and there's been times where I've said things that I didn't sincerely mean, but a lot of times the joke is in the ludicrousness of the opinion.
Of course.
People know that, and every reasonable person knows that you don't mean that. It's like if you say your dick is 8 feet long, nobody actually says, no, it's not, and means it literally. They're fucking morons.
Well, some people are morons. Some people don't understand it, and I do that. And as I say, you sort of play a slight character, and I think people get to know the thing you're playing. I started with stand-up and on TV playing a character that I'd said all the wrong things, but everyone knew that, you know. I came down politically on the wrong side. I say things like, Nelson Mandela, what a great man. It used to get a round of applause. Just saying that got a round of applause, like in the right audiences. They just clapped his name. Like, and I went, incarcerated for 25 years. He's been out now about 20 years, and he hasn't reoffended. I think he's going straight, which shows you prison does work. But they knew that was wrong. They knew that was back to front week on stage. I get it. He's misunderstanding, you know, so they understand some things, but it's not their thing.
Right.
It's not their thing.
The whole thing, that's what's so weird about what's happened with the internet is that, because like, you would think, you're putting out so much content on the internet now, and you would think that would be the ultimate sort of, this is where I put my stuff. If you like my stuff, here's the link to it. If you don't like it, you never have to click it. You never have to see it. It's not on your TV. It's not going to pop up at you. None of that's ever going to happen. But people, even more so than anywhere else,
of course,
seek out what they don't like so they can write a comment, so they can tweet you some nonsense.
But they think everything's personal. Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically. The Twitter, if you follow someone, you've got to imagine that you're standing by a notice board in the middle of a big town, and someone comes up and puts up guitar lessons, right? And then they're standing there and go, but I don't want to learn guitar. Well, no, it's not actually I don't want to learn guitar. I want to learn banjo. I don't do... Oh, and so they forget that they're standing by the notice board in the middle of a big town.
Right, just keep walking. You'll find banjo lessons
there might
somewhere.
be a banjo lesson somewhere. I don't know. Well, why tell me that? Well, I wasn't talking to you, really. Honestly, I wasn't talking to you. So, yeah, everyone takes everything personally. And everyone thinks that what they care about is what everyone should care about.
Right.
And that's a given.
I would imagine, though, when you put out something like the David Brent guitar lesson videos that you've been putting up, like, there's nobody that's going to be offended. Like, is there any negative response that comes from something like that?
Well, people say, some people say things like, "This is the worst guitar lesson I've ever seen."
No, people don't take it seriously.
Yes, they do.
Well, I'm starting to think. I've been.
You've got to be on Twitter and you've got to read more comments left on YouTube to know that the human race is fucked.
Yeah,
it's
apparently.
Yeah. You know. I'd say Jim Norton is in the top 2% of great humans.
And that's saying something.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's right.
He's smart, articulate,
rather not classically handsome.
Oh no, and you're symmetrical.
right. There's a roundness.
Yeah.
It's like two pairs on an oval, but it somehow works.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to think though with David, because I've watched the guitar lesson, of course. And I'm starting to think that it's like it's more. David seems to just like to segue into playing his songs.
Well, that's it. I think people don't even understand that people that they, you know, the YouTube is perfect for David Brent. He can't believe his luck. He was stitched up by a documentary team. He went in the wilderness. He still want to be famous, but now he's discovered you can just put your own stuff up there. And again, he's hijacking his own thing. Because he went there to do like lessons, but actually, he wants to talk about, and he takes questions from people, and he stitches himself up with the questions because he hasn't looked at them properly.
And it's not even like it's another crew this time.
No.
It's his own
He's
deal.
in charge, which is good and bad. Now, the thing about that is, because he's in his element, you know, he's in charge of his own destiny, so he's a bit happier, you know, he's a bit older, he's a bit wiser, so I've got to find things that niggle him. He hasn't got a boss coming in and ruin it. He's doing his lunch hour. He's a rep, you know. So he's got to stitch himself up.
He's spending his lunch hour making YouTube.
Exactly, yeah.
Stitch a guitar.
You've got to eke it out. So he gets these questions, and he can't believe he's talking about himself. But then he remembers something, and it'll annoy him. It'll annoy him, you know. So David Brent's got to be poked by a stick somehow. And you know, when you're by yourself, it's his own mind that has to poke him.
I guess I didn't even think that. It becomes difficult because there's nobody there to point out the buffoonery.
No.
Like, there is nobody that I relate to
No,
here.
exactly. So what do you do by yourself to annoy you? Read comments on YouTube.
Right.
So, and that's how, so he takes questions. So, you know, and of course, 99% of people are idiots. So that wins because it annoys him. He doesn't get the respect he deserves. But where's he looking? He's looking on toilet walls.
Of course.
And that's what the internet is. Getting offended by someone leaving a comment or tweeting you something is like going to every toilet wall in the world and going, how dare they say that about me? You know, again, it works both ways.
Yeah.
You know, you mustn't get offended. Even if it's you by name, they don't know you. I mustn't get offended by someone saying you're shit and they spell that Y-O-U-R.
There's nothing better than a grammatically incorrect insult.
It's
Right.
wonderful.
The greatest retweet you could ever have is when you just correct someone's grammar as they're insulting you.
Sometimes I said to one, I'm going to do the book of my favourite tweets. One said, "You dumb atheist," spelled atheist incorrectly. If we come from monkey, why are there still monkey around? Right? I think I tweeted, I want to give this tweet a Nobel Prize. But yeah, anger mixed with indignant ire and bad spelling is the best.
Right.
Yeah, they're funny. They're instantly funny.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
There's a great moment, by the way, in one of the videos of, I think it was a Spaceman Came Down. Which is
just the songs themselves, without even the guitar lessons around them, are so wonderful.
Well, again, they're not comedy songs as such. They're not spoof songs. They're inappropriate for David Brent to be doing them, particularly if he's meant to be. He's got a job, right? So. One of my favourite things in pop music is when there's a different motive, right? This is not someone to dance to, or chill out to, or, you know, woo a woman to. This is someone who's trying to end racism in 3.5 minutes in the key of C, or to bring down a fascist regime. Right, okay, E minor for fascist regime. And so, that pomposity of it doesn't matter if it's David Brent or Bono, always makes me laugh a little bit. You know, the fact that I can, you know, change, I can end racism now. Just like Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder ended it with Ebony and Ivory.
Of course.
But they're believable songs, though. The thing about the songs is they're not written over the top crazy. They're legit. Like, there's parts of them where you go like, like, oh God, David.
Oh, if they were real, they'd be excruciating.
But that's the beauty of it.
Of course, yeah.
And that seriousness that he...
That for me.
It certainly is.
Was it really?
Of course. We didn't want to ask you how such a
bad shoulder. Wow, music on. Oh, I really have. I can't play it.
No?
No, I actually have done my shoulder in there. Oh no, now I feel like I could play it like that.
There you go.
I can't. Pretty girl on the hood of a Cadillac, yeah. She's broken down on Freeway 9. I take a look and get her engine started, leave her purring and I roll on by. Bye-bye. Free love on the free love freeway. The love is free, the freeway is long. I got some hot love on the hot love highway. Ain't going home 'cause my baby's gone. She's gone. So, again, not a comedy song, but it's a song about Brent going across America. He's never been.
In the context of what it's in, because he's singing this song like he's this touring musician.
Of course, yeah.
And he couldn't be further from
and
it.
It's just such a ridiculous fantasy of, like, breaking down, you know. Yeah. So,
She's dead. She's not dead.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. I can't even play. My shoulder. Oh.
It's so.
What would I do if I was a real pop star?
It's so great. You are a
leave
real
at 10
pop star.
o'clock.
I'd take the day off.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have to promote for you too, because we have not. Of course, it's Ricky Gervais on Twitter and YouTube.com/Ricky Gervais. I can't get enough of David Brent being back. Life's Too Short to wrap up. The special airs July 5th on
of
HBO.
July with Val Kilmer, like you've never seen him before. Honestly, you will love it. He does. He's yeah.
You saw him out.
He's great in it. It's really funny.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it'll surprise people.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, because we've heard a lot of weird things about Val Kilmer. It's good to hear about him in a comedic
I
sense.
didn't think it was weird at all. I think he's really sweet
That's
and
great.
sincere, and he's funny, and he's really dry. He's really dry. You know, the people that have been through the mill of Hollywood and everything. But he's great in it. He's really great in it. Yeah.
And Derek is coming to Netflix.
12th of September.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't got. Have I got you the copies of that?
No, we've never gotten copies.
Right.
I would love them.
I'll get you them. You're not allowed to show Opie and Anthony.
No, I
This
won't.
for you.
They wouldn't get it.
So
anyway.
do a review.
They'd be too
They
busy.
feel really frustrated. They can't believe it. Oh, this is like. Do you ever do that thing when you're at work? You wish that you could undermine your boss all the time. Like you'd get the deals and he wasn't be part of them. This is like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly
This is
is.
like you're like Michael J. Fox in The Secret of My Success.
Yeah, I'll know something they won't know, and I won't cue them in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was fun. That was lovely.
Yeah, you're probably my favorite guest. I'm really happy you came, and it was really great having you.
Which one's Opie and Anthony? What way round is it?
Anthony is the rugged, like the workman.
Yeah.
The ruggedly handsome.
Yeah.
And Opie's the blonde across, who's got more of the boyish looks.
This
the
sounds
body.
vaguely homoerotic, though.
It is.
I know you've got to do a description. And it was good, but you got and his nipple. The ones whose nipples harden as the breeze comes through a bathroom window at 7 o'clock in the morning. The light just hits his eyes like that.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was sort of too descriptive.
Believe me, if I would have
do you know what I'd have said?
What?
One's got dark hair, one's got blonde hair.
Yeah, but they're more to me than that. They're my mortgage.
Thank you.
All right,
Great
that's it.
Ricky Gervais, and thank you so much.
Yep,
Cheers, guys.
YouTube/Ricky Gervais.